This is Cameron Humphreys from Humphreys Outdoor Power, and today we are in the shop because we're going to take a look at 8 key spring maintenance tips for your lawnmower to keep you going. I know here in Indiana we've had a very wet spring and it's created a lot of heavy wet grass, which has not been ideal mowing conditions for most lawnmowers. That means it's about time to come back to these, touch up the blades, do a few other things. We're about to dive into what those 8 things are that you should be doing to get your mower ready for the next phase of mowing and this mowing cycle. So let's dive in. So this is our demo mower. We've had it out on demo several times, so it's seen quite a bit of the mowing that's happened this spring. Like I said, here in Indiana, we've had a lot of rain. It's been great for the grass, but that means not so great for our lawnmowers, which means it's time to dive back into these things and make sure they're still in good working order, so they're going to keep in good working order for the rest of the mowing season. One of the first things we want to do is something we should probably be doing after every mow job, and that's cleaning debris out from the top of the deck. This is where we take a leaf blower or something that's blowing air and blowing all the debris out from the top of the deck. Most mowers these days have easy access panels where we can get to the top of those decks and blow them out very easily. While we're there, we need to be checking the belts, and we want to check to make sure that they're still relatively tight, they're not super loose. We want to check them to see if they've got any cracks or breaks, just to make sure that we're not out in the middle of a mow job if that brake were to fail and then we're just kind of stuck without anything to mow with. So if we can get ahead of the curve, ahead of the issue that happens, that's the purpose of checking those belts early before we get started again. Another thing that we typically get in spring is a lot of fluctuations in temperature, and for that reason we want to check the tire pressure. We want to make sure that we're still running at whatever the regulated tire pressure is for your particular machine. A lot of times with that cool and hot and cool and hot, we're going to lose a little bit of air pressure, so we want to make sure that we're not close to busting off of a rim or anything like that. At this point we probably want to start thinking about cleaning out the bottoms of these decks. So especially as wet as it's been here in Indiana, we get a lot of the grass sticking to the bottom of the decks, and that can trap moisture against it and cause that to start to rust. We want to make sure that we're scraping that out and getting all of that debris out of there. It's also going to disrupt the airflow, so if you notice that your mower's mowing a little bit wonky, one of the key things you can do is go ahead and clean that out. Which takes us to our next step. While we're underneath that deck, we want to go ahead and take those blades off and touch those up. They need to be sharpened a couple times a year, and we're about to the point in our mowing cycle here in Indiana where they're starting to need to be sharpened. So you can either do that yourself with a grinder, or you can take them into a dealership like us. We can typically have them done within a day, get it back to you. Another key point while we're down around the blades is we want to make sure to grease. This is a great time to grease everything that needs to be greased on the machine. Now I know a lot of mowers are going to sealed bearings on the tops of decks. However, there are still, like this steel, there are still places where we've got grease zerks. So this is a great time of the year to go ahead and touch up those grease spots. Typical places for those are going to be on the spindles, on the front casters, and then a lot of mowers also have some grease zerks there where it's lifting the deck up. So check out your particular mower, look at your manual, make sure that you're hitting up all the grease spots. We've been dealing with a lot of moisture, and that grease will help insulate against some of the damage that can cause. One of the other things you want to do when you're on the back of that machine is go ahead and check your air filter. A lot of times whenever we're mowing that real heavy stuff, some junk can get sucked up in there, and if the filter's doing its job, it's keeping that out of the engine, but it will collect there. So we want to take that out, bang it against a trash can, make sure to get all the loose debris off of it, take a look at it, and make a determination on whether we can salvage this one or if we need to just go ahead and buy a new air filter. It's pretty low cost maintenance item that's going to keep your mower running hopefully for a very long time. Last but not least, and this is something that you may or may not need to do, but it's something that I would kind of recommend doing, especially if you did have a lot of fluctuations in your tire pressure and you had to make sure that was even again. I'd go ahead and check that deck level one more time since you've already got it in here. And like for us, we have it on a lift, so it's a good time to go ahead and do it. Not everybody has that, I know, but if you're already down there, it's a good time to check, make sure you're level. If you've hit stuff and you know you've hit stuff, or if someone else has told you that they've hit stuff with your mower, again, it's a great time to check. Tire pressures can start to alleviate that, so we want to make sure that we're doing this after we've checked our tire pressure, but it is still a really good time to make sure that your deck's level. Again, this is something you probably would have noticed if you really had an issue. Whenever you were mowing, you'd have seen uneven lines or uneven mowing patterns while you were mowing. So if you don't have that, this is probably one of those things you could skip over, but still, since we're this close, it's not a bad idea to check it. Just, again, make sure you're checking it against a level floor. One other note here, and this only applies to more of the diesel machines, but while we're kind of checking over things, one of the things I would pull out is your radiator screen for your radiator, and I would also check your radiator coolant levels just to make sure that that's good. Again, these are just things that you should be touching pretty regularly with your machine anyway, but since we're in here doing this maintenance, it's a really good time to go ahead and check those things out. So these have been our 8 tips to keep your mower mowing through this heavy spring season. We want to obviously make sure that mower keeps going at full bore all the way till fall whenever we're crushing up leaves. So for now, we want to make sure to touch it, go back through those 8 steps and keep that mower mowing. So make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you like content like this, and leave a comment below on some other tips you might want to see sometime. In the meantime, have a great day.